All right, everybody, I am back with a brand new DC update, and I wanted to address a couple of things from my last video that some people made comments on. And one of the comments I got in my the comments below my video said that they would like me to be more positive in my videos. And unfortunately, I don't see that happening anytime soon. Because I could tell you in my lifetime, I could tell you both from the comic book side as well as the movie side, this is the darkest it has ever been for DC properties. There's no question about it. James Gunn has a lot to prove. If he wants this universe to be successful, he has a lot to prove. And we're going to see a comment he made yesterday, which to me was just mind-blowing, because it directly goes against some of the stuff that he has talked about. And it does have to do with Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. And this particular video is going to be heavy on that Supergirl movie because there was a lot of information that came out since I did my last video. The other thing I want to address is also on the comic book side. I am now just about done with the Lazarus Planet storyline from DC Comics, and what a freaking cluster, you know what. This story was freaking awful. Like, it started out okay, but every issue in between the Alpha and the Omega issues was nothing other than little stories about characters that nobody cares about. They're trying to introduce people. They weren't complete stories. It was a complete waste. If I would have caught this when this storyline came out, I would have had them take those issues out of my bag. It was utter garbage. Absolute and utter garbage. I'm hoping Night Terrors and some of the other storylines coming up will be better. And I do know they're having a run right now in Detective Comics that I actually started, and it looked like it was going to run for 3 issues, but I'm like, this seems like a much deeper story. When I was at my comic shop last time, they talked about that actually being a 2.5 year storyline that's being done. It's going to be the whole run of the creative team behind that story. So I've kind of paused on that, and I'm going and catching up on World's Finest, Batman, and also the different storylines like Lazarus Planet and Night Terrors. Just this dawn of the DC, I'm amazed at how bad things have gotten. Like, it's just ridiculous at this stage, guys. And it's unfortunate that we can't be more positive. Now, there's also been a lot of controversy surrounding the Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, which does come out. It's a video game coming out on the 2nd, so it'll be out in basically 2 days. And they've had for people who paid an extra $30 above and beyond the cost of the actual game itself, they got early access. And what a mess that has been. They actually had to shut down some stuff. We're going to talk about quite a few things today, and I wish I could be more positive, guys. I wish I could, but DC's just in bad shape right now. And there's one little glimmer of hope, which does have to do with Kevin Conroy. A lot of people got upset about how they kill off Batman in that Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League game, and that was his last performance, and people were pissed off on how that ended because he did pass away. Well, there's some good news in regards to Kevin Conroy. So we're going to look at some stuff here today. So let's dig into the pictures that I have grabbed. Now, I thought this was a good point that was brought up on Twitter, because a lot of people complained about Batman versus Superman and the Snyder movies being so long. And they said, so if Superman Legacy ends up being 3 hours long, will all the people who complain about Snyder's films being that long say James Gunn isn't a good storyteller because he can't make a movie within the 2 hour range? And this is very true. With all the stuff and all the characters being jammed into Superman Legacy, I cannot see this being a short movie. I just don't. It looks like it's going to be just a smorgasbord of a bunch of different characters, and I hope they can make it coherent and do it within a good time frame and make it entertaining. Now, this is interesting. This brings up a couple of questions. It says, in case you missed this exciting news yesterday, strangely, Millie was the first person I brought up to Peter for this role of Supergirl well over a year ago. when I had only read the comics. I was watching House of the Dragon, and I thought she might have the edge, grace, and authenticity we needed for the DCU Supergirl. And now here we are. Life is wild sometimes. Well over a year ago. Think about that. Well over a year ago, when they just announced the DC slate exactly a year ago. So if this is well over a year ago, this goes to show you that these plans were in process long before they did anything with Black Adam, that this was being planned long before that. So I'm still to this day think the studio committed fraud with trying to sell everybody that Henry Cavill was back to try and sell tickets for Black Adam. That today is the most upset I have been with the studio. And then to have all these weird statements about the following films that came out, it's pretty crazy. But first of all, we're going to find out he is not even directing the Supergirl movie. So why is he the one who is casting Supergirl? And again, this goes back to what I've said before, that this is the Gunn show. He is doing everything. Now, a lot of people take this to mean that she's going to be in Superman Legacy. And we're going to see a comment that James Gunn made here in a few minutes yesterday that just blew me away. So Matthew Vaughn has a couple of good movies coming out very soon. And he talks Supergirl Wonder of Tomorrow. He said, I'm a huge fan of Millie Alcock. Huge fan. Met with her for this other project we're working on. She turned me down, which was sad. She's a fabulous actress. Then again, I do find it very weird that they haven't got a director. That surprised me because you shouldn't cast a movie. The director should be casting the movie. I don't understand who cast it if there isn't a director. I was asked about doing The Flash way back, but I said I'd only do it if I could recast, if I'm directing my own superhero film. I want my own new superhero. But Millie Alcock, I probably would have put forward for it if I was directing, so I haven't considered it. Never say never. Never say never. I'm a big fan of James Gunn and Peter Safran, so yeah, I would consider it. So he's putting his hat in the ring to be able to direct this Supergirl movie, but he's very right about casting. Now, again, we're going to talk about some stuff coming up, which just blows me away. So this news also came out that James Gunn and Peter Safran intend to lock in a director for Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow in the coming weeks. You know what my guess on this is? That James Gunn is going to direct it. I'm just telling you right now. I have a feeling. Now, I'm half joking when I say this, but I'm going based on what we've seen so far. He is writing and directing everything. And so I wouldn't be surprised if they come out and announce that he is directing Woman of Tomorrow. I just wouldn't be surprised at all. Now, with this, I want to address something that I saw being posted also on social media that people were upset that they're calling this Woman of Tomorrow when Man of Steel 2 was going to be the Man of Tomorrow. This is based off of a comic with that name, so I don't see this as being disrespectful to what was going to happen with Cavill. It just happens to be the storyline that they are going to be adapting for this film, and I don't think it's a storyline that is going to resonate with the masses. I just don't. Now, here's a photo that I just thought was interesting. It's crazy how real this stuff looks. I'm amazed at what AI can actually do. Now, we don't have any weird handshakes in this one, but I could see him as an older man being this character. I wouldn't have said he could play this character as a younger guy, but as he's older, I could see him playing Batman if he's this more, disheveled kind of look. But yeah, I just thought this photo was pretty cool. All right, so here we go. This is James Gunn, and we have to talk about this here because this just is crazy. He said, this person asked, how much screen time does Millie Alcock have as Supergirl in Superman Legacy? James Gunn goes on to say, I never said she was in the movie. What? Okay, now he is right. Technically, he is right. He has never said that she was actually in the movie. But here is what he has said. That they will not cast anybody for any of the movies until a script and the project is ready to go. So he has said that. So the Supergirl movie is not ready to go. They do expect it to film sometime in 2025, but it's not ready to go. And he's supposedly not directing it, so why is he casting Supergirl? Now, if she is in Supergirl and he's being coy here, here's the other problem with this. James Gunn specifically came out, and I had a whole video about this, where he said he is sick and tired of the, cameo porn. He called it cameo porn, throwing in characters into a story that don't serve the story. So which is it, James Gunn? He has, with this comment alone, he has painted himself into a corner. If she's in the movie, it's cameo porn. If she's not in the movie and it's for Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, why is he casting that character when there's no script and they're not ready to film it and he's not supposedly going to be the director? You can't make this stuff up, guys. He would be better off getting off of social media rather than make these weird comments that are just utterly confusing. They don't make any sense. So here is something that made me very happy. It says, Kevin Conroy has recorded lines as Batman from Batman the Animated Series for one final project, which is going to be Crisis on Infinite Earths Part 3. So he was very busy before he passed away. This death does still upset me. His death does, because I'll tell you, when I read comic books, this is the voice I hear, because it has been so inbred in me because of Batman the Animated Series and the Arkham games, and I played all 4 of the games, that, well, he wasn't the voice in Origins, but he was the voice in the other 3. Man alive, this guy was the definitive Batman, and it's going to be nice to see that he will be coming back for one more project. I will be looking forward to that. I haven't seen the first one. I thought it was going to be streaming on HBO Max. I actually have to go buy it if I want to see it, and I would rather wait until all 3 parts are out. So I am not going to be reviewing this until all 3 parts are available, but I will review it once all 3 are available. But it could be a while. Now, this was pretty funny because, a lot of people talk about how bad Batman vs. Superman was and how the audience hated it. This person said, oh, wait, I thought you haters said that no one likes Batman vs. Superman. Clearly, this statement contradicts your statements. These haters have no logic and even lack high IQ. And I would agree with this. Most of the people who are anti-DCEU or anti-Snyder don't have a lot of common sense. And this movie a while back is officially on the all-time best-selling Blu-ray list. And you could see that this was updated on October 7th of 2023. So this movie continues to sell, and people love this movie. Now, I never saw those versions. Man, those statues, holy crap. I would love to have a collector's edition with both of those statues. I mean, this is pretty freaking awesome. I don't remember those getting released, at least not here in the U.S., unless it was something I never saw or was unaware of. But that's pretty awesome. And it is, again, this movie is a lot of people's favorite superhero film, and in fact, it is mine. I think this is the best superhero film that has ever been filmed. That movie, the extended version, is amazing. So here's somebody who's on Twitter who I think I need to give a lot of credit to. His name is Davey Alves. I think that's how you say his name. I'm not 100% sure. If he sees this, I'm sorry if I butchered your name. But this art is pretty awesome. He does these these retro covers, and this is for Supergirl. And I thought this is pretty awesome. This is some pretty cool stuff. So if you aren't following this individual, go find him. It's at Davey_A86 on Twitter. He does some pretty amazing work. Now, a lot of people are coming in, people are getting asked about directing Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, and we've got this director of True Detective Night Country, the showrunner, Isa Lopez. She says she is not interested in directing Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. It's not her jam. I'm glad, to be honest with you, because I'm not really digging True Detective Night Country. I've watched all 3 episodes, and it is not good, guys. It's just a mess, and I'm hoping it gets better as the season goes on, but I don't hold out a lot of hope. So this goes back to what I mentioned a little bit earlier in regards to the Suicide Squad game, that it was pulled 1 hour after early access launch due to a bug that when people logged in, now this is a game that requires you to have internet access at all times. You have to be online. And this is where things are going in the future, guys. Things in the future, you're not going to own any games. They've already made it very clear, like Ubisoft and some other companies are like, you're not going to own games in the future, and you will have to be connected to the internet to use it. But then the government's going to come in, and I guarantee you they're going to start limiting the data, the bandwidth that people can use for stuff, which it's just that they're going to control everything that you do. That's the point, is these companies and the government want to control everything that you do. And this is a game that requires you to be online if you want to play it, which I think is ridiculous. And along with this, I was watching some of the cutscenes from this, and there's a scene where King Shark actually puts on the Green Lantern ring and is able to turn into a Green Lantern. And when I saw this, I was just shaking my head. If you know anything about Green Lantern or how those rings work, he cannot put that ring on and have it work. It wouldn't work for him. And this just goes to show you how Rocksteady has thrown this project together, and they just don't have a clue. I am not purchasing this game. I am going to wait until it is heavily reduced. But the stuff coming out is not good. The reviews on this are absolutely horrible. Now, this is very interesting. This article came across my plate this morning, and this is in regards to Paramount. So we've all heard that Warner Brothers was interested in Paramount. And it says, Byron Allen has entered the fray for Paramount Global, submitting a bid valued at $30 billion to buy out the company's outstanding stock and existing debt. And I read the article, and this would cover all the debt, all the stock, and they would still have a couple of $1 billion left over. But they don't think that this deal is going to go through for Byron Allen. And what's interesting is they briefly mentioned how Warner Brothers at one point was interested in Paramount, but that those talks have gone to the side. So I don't think there's any chance that Paramount is going to be folded into Warner Brothers. And this is coming from Variety. So I do believe that this is what is going to happen, and I don't think Warner Brothers is going to pick up Paramount. Now, this is interesting. Tom Welling actually has come out and said he would be down for playing Clark Kent one more time for a possible Smallville movie. I think most of the actors would come back for that. I think this would be a big hit if the studio ever decided to do it, but I don't think they would. This is another thing that came across my plate this morning, and I actually went to this article, and it says, fans are concerned about Superman Legacy's action sequence. Guardians of the Galaxy 3 action sequence sparks heated debate after fans' concern for David Corenswet's Superman Legacy. And I was very curious as to what this scene was. And I had one scene in the movie in mind, and it actually ended up being that exact scene when I went to the article. And it's the scene where, I forget the Golden character, I'm not a Marvel fan, I forget the guy's name, where he was flying through a bunch of wreckage, and it had a close-up shot of his face, and it would go around his body, and he's flying through. Guys, these are the special effects where we can expect from Superman Legacy. It's the same people who are going to be working on Superman Legacy. It's the same people who worked on both Guardians of the Galaxy 2 and 3, worked on also The Flash, and also on, what was the other movie? I forget the other movie that had come out. But all of these films had very cheap-looking special effects and VFX, and it has me worried about the look of the film. It can't have a cheap look to it. It cannot have the same type of a look that Guardians of the Galaxy 3 had. It just can't. That movie to me looked like an episode of Teletubbies. All right, so there's one other thing I wanted to address before I finish up this video today. In the last video, I talked about the look of Millie Alcock, and people thought I was making fun of her or putting her down for her looks, and that is definitely not the case. Not at all. And I want to be very clear about that. What I was saying is that she definitely has a look that she could throw off some attitude. That's what that character is calling for, and I'm sure that's why she was chosen, for her acting ability as well as that look. I think she could give off some serious attitude with some acting chops. And that was not a knock on her looks by any stretch of the imagination. And so I don't want people to think I was putting her down or that I was being disgusting towards her. I was not shaming her in any way. There's a reason why she got chosen for that character. And James Gunn actually clarified that in some statements. And so, yes, it has to do with the look and also her acting ability. And there aren't many people who can pull that off. And so they're definitely going for a certain type of look for that character and a certain type of attitude. And I do think she is going to be able to fill that role. And I did watch some videos with her. She is a very sweet and nice person in real life. And so, no, I'm not knocking on her in any way, shape, or form. So you guys can get that out of your head and don't come in and make comments about that, because it is just simply not true. All right, guys, there's my update for the day. I do appreciate the support. If you haven't already, please hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell, and you will be notified as I have new videos go up.